Hey Yankees fans, welcome to Yankees Rumors and News, your go-to spot for the latest buzz and updates about our team. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a scoop. When you look at the current offseason landscape for the New York Yankees, it almost feels like the calm before a storm. The kind of silence that usually makes fans restless and commentators impatient, but also the kind that can suddenly break with a move nobody saw coming. And right now the name Tatsuya Imai is quietly sitting in the middle of that tension, waiting for the moment when timing, opportunity, and leverage all collide in a way that could actually work in the Yankees' favor. The Bronx Bombers have not yet delivered that signature headline signing that shakes social media and dominates talk shows, but that does not mean they are inactive or asleep at the wheel. Because sometimes the smartest moves are the ones that come when the market hesitates. And Imai's free agency situation is beginning to look exactly like that kind of opening. Imai, a Japanese right-handed pitcher with an impressive resume in Nippon professional baseball, remains one of the most intriguing starting pitchers still available. Yet his market has not developed the way many expected when he was posted by the Saitama Seibu Lions. Instead of a feeding frenzy of offers and aggressive bidding wars, what we are seeing is hesitation, uncertainty, and a surprising lack of concrete proposals from Major League Baseball clubs. Imai himself openly acknowledged this reality when he explained that there are not many firm options on the table and that interest does not always translate into an official offer. That kind of admission tells you everything you need to know about the current state of his market. And for a team like the Yankees, that hesitation elsewhere can become leverage in their hands. What makes this situation especially fascinating is the contrast between Imai's talent level and the quiet nature of his free agency. This is not a fringe arm or a lottery ticket with no track record. Imai has been an all-star in Nippon professional baseball on separate occasions. Once early in the decade and once again recently. And he has spent his entire professional career with Seibu since debuting in the late 20-teens. Over the course of more than 150 appearances, he has accumulated nearly 1,000 innings with an earned run average hovering just above 3, which already paints the picture of consistency, durability, and reliability. Those are traits that always translate well in conversations about major league rotations, especially for teams that value stability alongside upside. If you zoom in on his most recent season, the numbers become even more eye-catching. Because during that campaign he posted an earned run average below 2, while striking out well over 170 batters across more than 160 innings. That kind of performance is not easy to ignore. And it explains why evaluators see him as someone who can step into a major league rotation and make an immediate impact. Analysts have pointed out that he has steadily improved his command and his ability to shoulder heavy workloads over the last several years, and that his fastball velocity remains strong even deep into seasons where he logs significant innings. In other words, this is not a pitcher who fades when asked to carry responsibility, and that trait alone has enormous value from a scouting perspective. There is also the tantalizing idea that Imai may still have another level to unlock. Observers have noted that his delivery might not fully maximize his athleticism and flexibility, which suggests that with adjustments and major league level coaching, he could find another gear altogether. That possibility of growth, combined with the fact that he is firmly in his prime years, is exactly what teams look for when trying to add impact arms without committing to contracts that stretch uncomfortably into the future. For the Yankees, who constantly balance the pressure to win now with the need to remain flexible long-term, that profile fits neatly into their broader philosophy. Timing, however, is the real story here. Because Imai's posting window does not stay open forever. He must sign with a major league club before early January, which means the clock is ticking loudly in the background. Every day that passes without a firm offer increases the urgency on his side and subtly shifts leverage toward teams that are willing to step in late with a clear proposal. This is where the Yankees' patience could suddenly look like foresight rather than hesitation. While some reports have suggested that there is currently no strong connection between New York and Imai, the reality of baseball economics is that situations can change overnight when deadlines approach and options narrow. From the Yankees' perspective, the need for rotation depth is very real. With key starters expected to miss the beginning of the upcoming campaign, the organization cannot afford to rely solely on internal options or patchwork solutions. They need arms that can absorb innings, compete at a high level, and ideally offer upside beyond simply surviving the early months of the season. MI checks all of those boxes. He has proven durability. He has demonstrated the ability to dominate in his home league. And he carries the kind of projection that suggests he could be more than just a temporary fix. The beauty of this scenario for New York lies in the possibility of a team-friendly deal. If MI's market remains quiet and other suitors fail to step up in a meaningful way, the Yankees could find themselves in a position to negotiate from strength rather than desperation. Instead of overpaying or committing to long, risky contracts, they could add a high-upside starter at a cost that reflects market uncertainty rather than raw talent. That is the kind of move that smart front offices dream about because it combines need, value, and timing into one decision. For fans, this is where the offseason narrative becomes especially compelling. The lack of splashy moves so far has created anxiety. But moments like this remind everyone that not every impactful signing arrives with fireworks and headlines weeks in advance. Sometimes it arrives quietly, right before a deadline, when the pieces finally fall into place. If the Yankees choose to act, and if MI's situation continues along its current path, this could become one of those moves that looks modest at first, but pays dividends once the games actually begin. In the end, Tatsuya Mi's free agency is not just a story about one pitcher searching for the right opportunity. It is a story about how timing, patience, and market dynamics can reshape expectations for the Yankees. It represents a chance to turn a quiet off-season moment into a meaningful addition, one that strengthens their rotation and adds intrigue to the season ahead. Whether they ultimately seize that chance remains to be seen, but the door is clearly open. And in baseball, those brief windows of opportunity are often the ones that matter most. If you're enjoying the updates, drop a like and let us know in the comments your thoughts on this rumor. Nobody saw it coming, and that is exactly why this rumor has detonated like a thunderclap across the league. Because when people thought the landscape was settled and the chessboard was calm, whispers began to circulate that the New York Yankees had quietly positioned themselves for one of the most shocking moves in recent memory. A scenario where Vladimir Guerrero Jr. could somehow be pulled away from his current reality and dragged into the Bronx spotlight, and the idea alone has been enough to make executives, fans, and even players pause and reevaluate everything they thought they knew about the balance of power in baseball. This is not being framed as a done deal or a signed document hidden in a drawer, but rather as a growing murmur that something big is brewing behind closed doors. The kind of move that only a franchise with deep pockets, historic confidence, and an appetite for chaos would even dare to explore. What makes this rumor so explosive is not just the name involved, but the way it supposedly unfolded in near silence, with no dramatic leaks, no obvious public positioning, and no loud statements meant to soften the ground. The Yankees are being painted in these whispers as patient predators, waiting while everyone else was distracted by more obvious storylines. Quietly monitoring a situation that could crack open at any moment, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a generational bat with star power that transcends the field, represents exactly the kind of talent that can redefine an era. And the idea that the Yankees could swoop in and snatch him has sent waves of anxiety through rival fan bases who know all too well what happens when the Bronx gets its hands on a player like that. Around the league, the reaction described by insiders is not disbelief but panic. Because this is the type of move that reshapes not just one roster, but an entire competitive environment. Front offices allegedly began asking themselves uncomfortable questions, wondering if they had missed signals, if they had underestimated the Yankees' willingness to strike big and fast, or if they had been too busy playing safe while a giant prepared to shake the table. The rumor suggests that conversations, hypothetical scenarios, and back-channel feelers have been floating in the air, and even the mere possibility has been enough to trigger defensive thinking across the sport. Because a Yankees lineup anchored by a bat like Guerrero Jr. is the kind of nightmare that keeps pitchers awake at night. From the fan perspective, the story feels almost unreal, like one of those bold trade machine fantasies that usually stay confined to comment sections and late-night debates, yet this one carries a different weight. People are not laughing it off, they are dissecting it, replaying past moments, contract situations, body language, and cryptic quotes, trying to find clues that maybe, just maybe, this was always a possibility hiding in plain sight. The Yankees fan base, known for its hunger and impatience, has reacted with a mix of disbelief and barely contained excitement, while opposing fans are already expressing dread, because history has taught them that when the Yankees are linked to a superstar in this way, things have a habit of escalating quickly. The narrative being whispered suggests that the appeal goes beyond money or market size, touching on legacy, pressure, and the allure of being the centerpiece of the most scrutinized franchise in the sport. For a player like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., whose name already carries weight and expectation, the Bronx would represent both the ultimate challenge and the ultimate stage, a place where legends are either forged or crushed under the spotlight. Those close to the rumor argue that this kind of environment can be intoxicating for elite competitors, and the Yankees are masters at selling that dream, painting a picture of iconic moments, October intensity, and a chance to etch one's name permanently into baseball mythology. At the same time, skepticism remains part of the conversation, because deals of this magnitude rarely happen without visible tremors beforehand, and some believe this could be a strategic leak, a pressure tactic, or even a test balloon floated to gauge reactions. Still, the fact that the rumor refuses to die, that it keeps resurfacing in different corners of the baseball world, has given it a strange credibility. People are talking about it in hushed tones, as if acknowledging it too loudly might make it real. And that in itself speaks volumes about the Yankees' reputation for pulling off the improbable. When the stakes are highest, if this speculation were to materialize, the impact would be immediate and brutal. Not just on the standings, but on the psychological landscape of the league. Pitchers would have to rethink game plans. Divisional rivals would feel the ground shift beneath their feet. And the Yankees would once again be cast as the villains and the standard-bearers of ambition. Even without confirmation, the rumor has already achieved something remarkable. It has reminded everyone that complacency is dangerous, that no superstar is ever completely untouchable, and that the Yankees are always lurking, ready to turn a quiet off-season storyline into a seismic event. As the whispers continue to swirl, one thing is clear. This is not just idle chatter for entertainment. It is a reflection of fear, respect, and anticipation all tangled together. A sign that the mere mention of the Yankees and a name like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is enough to send shockwaves through baseball. Whether this remains a rumor that fades or evolves into something concrete, it has already succeeded in throwing the league into a state of uneasy vigilance, and that feeling, that sense that something massive could drop at any moment, is exactly the kind of chaos the Yankees have always thrived in, leaving everyone else to watch, speculate, and brace for impact. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you stay up to date with every Yankees rumor and news. See you in the next video.